these principles into action. Okay. So I believe most of us drive. And in driving, you come across road signs. What are some of the road signs you saw today while driving?
Stop.
Stop.
No turn on red.
No turn on red. Okay.
Zebra. Yield to pedestrians.
Yield to pedestrians.
Stop sign.
Stop sign.
Speed limit.
Speed limit.
Railroad crossing.
Railroad crossing. Why do we need all these signs? Aren't there too many?
No.
We need all.
Why do we need them?
For
Why?
safety.
They are all guide for our safety.
Yes, there for our safety. Very good. Thank you very much. So ethics are also like the road signs you see. They are there for our safety. But in the space of counseling, the ethics are there to guide us to exhibit proper behavior within the counseling context. I believe we will share slides, or you are recording, so you can have the slides later on. But typically, ethics are taken from moral principles of life. So within every society, there are morals. And these morals govern us in our day-to-day lives. Morals about our relationship with others, morals about attitude towards other people's property, morals about our relationship with the divine. All these are there to govern us so that we are in a form of a social contract. We know what is right and what is wrong. And that is why you might become upset or concerned when someone is violating these moral principles. But when it comes to ethics, we do not apply all the moral principles in society. We just pick a set of them that are applicable to the counseling context. And these moral principles that are a select few will guide us in our behavior. Okay, it helps us to exhibit proper conduct as counselors. So if someone was to violate any of them, anybody who is practicing as a counselor will know that this behavior is not appropriate, it's not professional, it's not acceptable. So the example we give, the road signs are there to tell us the rights and wrongs about driving, and ethics are also there to guide us on the right course of conduct when it comes to counseling. So we need them as a way to protect the people we work with. We need ethics to protect the people. From your experiences in the past 3 weeks, you would have realized that counseling is a very intimate process. Somebody has kept their life story for a very long time. And because of your role as a counselor, they divulge information to you. With that, you are in a position of power. You can abuse that information they've given you. You can exploit them. Imagine somebody comes to you and reveals that they have a medical condition or they are having a problem in their marriage. You can use that information even to blackmail them. So if you're a counselor, you are in a position of power. And that power, if it's not controlled, you can become a danger to society. And that's why the ethical codes are developed. They are there to protect the counselees that we work with and to protect the general public. Okay. It also helps us to have an idea of how to conduct our affairs when it comes to people's rights. And as we go through the lectures, you will see some of the practical ways. But the ethics were developed to protect fundamental human rights. Some of the rights we'll talk about, but some of them are that people have freedom of choice, they have autonomy, they have the ability and the right to self-determination, meaning that they have to make decisions for themselves. So these ethical principles are developed to make sure that we don't violate these fundamental human rights. And the way counseling is, sometimes you go into counseling with a good motive. Oh, I want to help people. I want to help people in distress. That's a noble idea. But if we are not careful, you have a slip, you make a huge mistake that will cause somebody their lives. It will cause undue harm to people. And for that matter, we need ethics. So again, think of ethics as the road signs you see. Some of them are warnings, some of them are cautionary, some are commands. Stop. Stop is a command. Stop. No arguments. Stop. You can't argue. But some of them are informational, telling you what is ahead. So that is how ethics are like. So ethics are developed based on 5 core counseling principles. We'll take them one after the other. Some books or some authorities will list them, use different names, but for our purpose, I want us to focus on what is here, the 5 core counseling principles. First of all, counseling is about care. So the first principle in counseling is care. We'll see how that manifests when we are working with people. The next principle is the principle of fairness. How can you be fair when you are working with people? Another principle is the principle of responsibility. Who are you working with? If you are working with a couple, are you working with one party against the other? Who is your responsibility in that kind of counseling relationship? The 4th principle is integrity. Integrity. And the 5th one, respect for people's rights and dignity. We'll take them one after the other. As I mentioned, counseling, ethics, and principles are best understood when you look at them from the cases that we see. So I'm going to put a case in front of us. I want you to identify the principles that are at stake in the case. And then we'll talk about how you will address the issue. So let's try our first case. Please take a few moments and read through the case. Okay. So first, I want to know what counseling principle is at stake here. What counseling principle? I mentioned 5 principles. Which one of them is at stake? Let me see where I can see your hand. Yes. Laura, can you go ahead, please?
Yes, respect for people's rights and dignity. I can see that in it because it said that the person said he or she is not ready to discuss the experience right now. So you have to respect the person's right. You cannot violate it. I'm not ready. Simple. That's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. What principle, that's point on, what principle might move a counselor to want to go ahead and process this experience? What principle do you think might be I mean, it's a general question to everyone, not only
So
what. Mhm.
I'm also looking at care here, because you look at the counselee, what he's going through. He's traumatized. So you need to care. Like, for example, if he or she to be your son or your daughter or your sibling, what will you do? Will you just leave and say, okay, you don't want to say anything, go away and suffer? Or what are you going to do? So there must be some care here. And then you try to put yourself in that person's shoe, if it were to be you, so that, I mean, you'll be able to do something about it for her, even though he or she doesn't want to talk about it.
Okay, thank you very much.
And the next one
So,
is the person's integrity is at stake. Your integrity is at stake. So that must be something that we must look at ourselves to have the integrity to respect that person. So we have those two principles that were mentioned earlier by my brothers and sisters come into play. Your integrity and the person's integrity also.
Okay, thank you.
I
also look at care, but I look at it from a different angle. The care that I'm looking at is more so of if you care about the counselee and their privacy, you should understand them by giving them the opportunity not to talk about it now, because they will open up to you at due time, but this time may not be the right time. And so if you care enough, you should be able to understand them and know where they're coming from.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going
So
to
all
add
your yes. Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, you have as a counselor that responsibility also not to leave that individual that you go through her experience with her, that you continue to if talk to her until she's ready to go through or explain what has happened. So that you also bear that responsibility. You cannot just neglect that also. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all for your responses. As you will note throughout the cases I'll be presenting, there are no right or wrong answers. It's the rationale you have behind that matters. So, yes, in this case, there are concerns about respecting your client's wishes, right? At the same time, if as a counselor you are not careful, you might allow your care for the person to override their wishes. What we know when we are doing counseling with people who have gone through unwanted sexual experiences is that you have to allow them to keep the pace. You do not dictate the pace. So your eagerness to help, if you are not careful, you might re-traumatize them. So in this case, your care has to be displayed in another way by respecting their decision not to process now. You can provide them assurance that you are there for them. Whenever they are ready, you will attend to them and allow them to process this, especially with sexual trauma that has just happened. If you process it now, you may cause undue harm. Thank you. So I was using that case to show you the care principle that we try as counselors to do no harm. Your intention is to help the person. But if you overprocess an experience, especially when they are not ready, you are causing harm. So you have to exercise discretion and you have to exercise foresight and think about the case. Is it needed right now? If it's not suicide, where the person is suicidal, if it's not an emergency, then can it wait? We call something stages of change or readiness, stages of readiness. If someone is not ready, psychologically to talk about an issue and you push them, you may be causing more harm than good. So we always have to juxtapose our care to the other principles. In my attempt of trying to be caring, am I causing undue harm? You are showing care when you don't over process things your clients are not ready to. So the care, counseling is all about care, but somebody will say, oh, I'm helping you, but they are harming you by not responding to your wishes. So you have to manage the care very well so that you do not cause harm. There are instances where minimal harm is unavoidable. I hope you can hear me. My internet just flickered. So there are instances where some unintended harm is expected. So for example, the fact that somebody has walked into counseling is already a place of vulnerability that you can't shield them from. Or they are talking about a loss, and so they may cry. Those are expected. But so you can't stop that from happening. You can't stop somebody from grieving, but you look out for the person so that they do not get harmed unnecessarily. So you minimize the extent of harm that may be caused. Coming to counseling itself is a risk the person has taken. We try not to add any further risk to that. Okay. Now, I have another case for you. Let's see. By the end of my session with you, I wish to have heard everybody's voice. So please take a few minutes and read this case. Okay, when you are ready, you can raise your hand. First, I want you to identify the principles that may be at stake here. And then we can talk about how to resolve the issue. Yes, please, Aaron.
The principle is fairness.
Thank you.
Responsibility.
Okay.
Fairness.
Okay. So okay, thank you. Let me call. So why is it, where do you see the fairness and where do you see responsibility? Where
So I said
the fairness is being impartial. The fairness is being impartial. Not, excuse me to say or use the language, discriminating against someone of prominence or who comes from a prominent background, as opposed to someone who is just, an average person. So you have to be fair to both without discriminating. Oh, I know such a person, so I have to take them first. They have to all be considered as equal. That's where I think fairness comes in. So that's also a responsibility that you have to take upon yourself.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Can I join in?
Yes, please.
Yeah, please. If you look at even the second couple who come from not well-to-do family, even have a pressing needs, but is trying to consider the prominent member, and that is unfair.
Okay, thank you. Can we mute? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so let me pick one more comment, and you've done a brilliant job with this. So, I mean, as with the first as well. Any other comments? Okay, so you were spot on. These two couples, have different social standing, and that is influencing the counselor. On top of it, if you look at the severity of their issues, the second couple has a pressing need. So in counseling, it's not so much about equality, it's about equity. Equity means who needs the most help now. And so if you're going to be equitable, then you should see the second couple. They have a pressing issue. The reality is that some of us will say, oh, we will not do that. But it happens. You are there and your bishop called you. Auntie Christy, I want you to see this case for me. Meanwhile, you schedule someone. You call the person, so, something has come up. Let me call you later. Then you go and see.
You're staying with her.
Very common in our Ghanaian society.
Staying with
It's
her.
coming from authority, someone who is your boss. So what do you do? But this is the reality. This is the reality. If the couple where the level of the severity of their case is almost the same, we could pardon you. But where one has a pressing issue, equity or fairness requires that you see the second couple. So that is the principle of fairness at stake. Where do I go? Okay. So to be fair, the fairness principle requires that you make decisions. I mean, it demonstrates how you make decisions. So in the case I showed you, the couple, the decisions you make will tell us whether you are being biased or not. Maybe you are seeing the first couple because you're expecting that once I've seen them, I get closer to the prominent person in their life. Next time, me too, when I need help, they will help me, which is a common thing in our Ghanaian context, because we tend to value hierarchy and authority, and we are very social. But we have to, in the area of counseling, we need to be very careful, because sometimes if you are not fair and you treat the other person first, by the time you get to the second couple, the harm would have been done. And remember, our care principle says that do no harm. Very good. Let's pick case 3, which will also illustrate to us another principle. No, pardon, it should be a good counselor, not counselors. A good counselor. What principle is at stake?
Do I go with integrity?
Do we all have the 5 principles?
I might go with integrity.
It's a responsibility, because as I'm also a counselor, and I see that one of my colleagues is not performing to that standard. It's my responsibility to speak to him or caution him, or in what he's doing. So I think it's responsibility.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Auntie Christy, you want to add something?
Yeah, I'm also thinking about integrity here.
Good. Integrity.
Okay. Okay.
The integrity of the counselor.
Yeah.
Who is that? Auntie Christy.
Aaron, please come again.
I say the integrity of the counselor is at stake.
Okay, of the counselor is at stake. So we have 2 counselors here. Whose responsibility and whose integrity? There are 2 counselors involved here.
Okay, the other one
You
is
and Mr. K.
Yeah, I'm talking about Mr. K, who has been a good church counselor for the past 10 years. Now, the problem that he's having is that his attitude has changed towards the counselors. 2, he's shouting at them. That is integrity. And then also complaining about every counseling. So the complaint and the shouting, that makes his integrity to be at stake.
Okay. Okay,
And
very
then
good. What happens to the
other,
second counselor?
The other is lack of respect. Because when you begin to shout at people, you just look down upon them. We should not do that at any given time, regardless of the circumstances. So he has lost his own respect for those people and respect for himself. That shows his attitude, not showing compassion or empathizing with people who are seeking his help. So in some way, his respect is coming into question.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. So we've done a thorough job with Mr. K. How about you, the counselor that is referred to as you, the person who observed, the observer? What do you think of them, the observer?
Responsibility here, in the sense that sometimes, the person, Mr. K, might be with all these cases, somebody might be calling at night when you have your own issues solving. Somebody will need you. It's like, so it might be that Mr. K is so tired at that point in time, and things are getting on his nerves. And that is why it's also because remember, he's also a human being. So he might also have his own issues to go through. So maybe these things are causing him to also go through something. And that is why he has suddenly changed and having these behaviors. So the counselor is the one observing. It's your responsibility to help him out too, to find a way and a very good time, a very good mood to tell him what you have also observed, so that might also put him on his toes. Thank you.
Another
I also see
Mr. K may be burnt out because of a lot of issues at stake upon his hand. So he does that in order to get some people off the way to attend to those that he being selective. Because of burnout or because he has more members, he's being selective in order to push some away.
I also think that
another thing that I would say is maybe Mr. K is losing interest in the job over time, because from time to time we all need to energize ourselves in what we do, because there come a point where we start to lose interest. So the other counselor can also intervene in kind of pushing him a little bit to kind of remind him of his purpose as a counselor. That can also go a long way.
I also see it in this way, that as counselors, we do not think that we are above being counseled. Now, in this case, Mr. K needs counseling himself. And then the one observing needs to counsel him. We usually say, who pastors the pastor? And therefore, who counsels the counselor? And here, Mr. K is somebody that needs counseling. Maybe he has lost some of the counseling skills, or just as has been explained, he may be having some problems here and there. So he himself needs counseling. And the one observing has the responsibility to bring him in and counsel him.
The other way is also that the his other counselor in saying that the eye sees not itself, but by reflection. So he himself is not seeing what is wrong with him. So it's time for the other counselor to pull him in and sit with him and find out what really, in a more friendly atmosphere, to see that my brother or sister, this is what I have observed. Is that what are they? Are there any things, issues in your life that I can help with, or you have a little bit fallen short of the expectation that we set up, or is expected of your counselees? So that is one thing that I will consider as the other counselor to tell him.
Yeah.
Please, may I come in here? Yeah, come in. I also think the other counselor should care about Mr. K and the job that he's doing, and then the counselees. So, as my colleagues have already said, maybe Mr. K is not aware of what was going on. So, the second one should take the matter upon himself or herself and call him and then talk to him. And also those who go to him for counseling, that will help both Mr. K and then those who goes to him for the counseling session. Because if the second person did not care about what is going on at all, he will continue doing what he's doing. Thank you.
Can I add something to what they just said?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I think because in this case, it's been established that Mr. K has a good track record. So it looks like Mr. K has personal issues which needs solving. So I think the second counselor needs to get close to Mr. K. And if possible, he may need to take some time off his counseling duties, solve his personal problems, and the second counselor can help him solve his personal before he comes back to his counseling job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys deserve what do I give to you? You've digested this case so much. I don't know what to say again. From all angles, you've covered it, right? So just to reiterate, I may not be able to remember everything you said. I'm just capturing a few highlights. That Mr. K has good counseling skills. So he has been a good counselor for the most part. But we see that he's been working for 10 years. And that's one of the commenters said. It's possible he's experiencing burnout. It's possible there's a life situation has changed. Something is going on. So he's not performing at his optimum. It is okay to take a step away from counseling, to take care of yourself, to do self-care, to get into counseling yourself. I mean, you can get someone to counsel you. It's okay to do that. If you're a counselor, it doesn't mean that you are superhuman. So every case comes, you take. Here's the point, you develop compassion fatigue. When you develop compassion fatigue, you start shouting at your client. So that is why he's harsh now. Because you've lost all the empathy you have developed over the years. Your compassion is finished. So when they are saying something, it's irritating you. So it's okay to seek help. It's a responsibility on your hand. If you don't do that, you cause more harm to your client. But as onlookers, as co-counselors, what do we do when we see a colleague going through some issues that are, affecting their work? It's also okay to get closer to the person and either alert them as to what is going on, see if you can be of help. If not, support them to seek help elsewhere, professional help. In our little work with pastors, we know that pastors are overwhelmed. They take, they work and work and work and work and work. And one day you see a slip. So, this man was not like that. Oh, no, it wasn't like that. But now he's bent out. So now his reaction with congregants, with people, is so harsh. So we need to be there to care for each other. It's a responsibility on us. It's a responsibility. You've covered the case so well. Thank you. How do I go to my next slide? Something is covering it. Okay. Right. So we've covered it. Just a key highlight about the responsibility principle, that we work within the laws of the land wherever we are practicing. So it means wherever you are, you have to find out what are the laws pertaining to counseling. Second, we try to refrain from anything that will bring disrepute. If we allow Mr. K to go on, somebody who has a first experience with him might go away thinking, hey, counselors, they are not empathic at all. You go to them and they are shouting at you. You've ruined the name of the profession. People wouldn't like to come to you or come to even your co-counselors. Thirdly, we strive to honor our contracts or appointments. So if you are burnt out, chances are that you're going to miss appointments. Or even when your clients come, you are not thorough with them. So it's a responsibility to take care of ourselves. Very well. Do you want more cases? Or you are okay? You want more cases?
Yeah, we can have more cases.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pick this case.
Let us make sure the cases don't burn us out. So we become like Mr. K.
Okay. So let's take case 4. Remember, we are using the cases to help us understand the principles properly. Fiancé in Matron is FI, okay, FIA. Fiancé.
Yeah, that is fair. I wanted to talk.
I think this one, know what I see a kind of responsibility here.
Wow.
It happens. So everything I'm showing you, they are fictional. They are real stories, doctored a little bit. It happens.
This phone and internet.
This has got so many things over there.
So one must be extra cautious before you send a message. Always double check. Otherwise, as you said, he mistakenly got sent to some third party. Once it is gone, it is gone. Before you even delete it, some people might have copied or pasted or screenshot it. So double check before you could send to whoever you want to send it to.
But now the harm has been done. What do you do?
Apology.
How do you remediate it?
Apology.
Because this person called complaining about their fiancé.
Mommy.
What do you do?
I mean, the best thing to do here, I think, is number one, own up to it and then apologize to the people because the harm has already been done. Like we have mentioned, when these things go out, you can't take it back. Some people probably has also forwarded to other people already. So it's impossible for you to take it back. So own up to it, apologize, and if possible, take yourself out of this situation. Give them the option if they still want to use your services, or let's say somebody else. They can, use somebody else's services if they want to, because it seems to me at this point in time, there's a possibility trust may become an issue moving forward. And so give them the opportunity. They don't have to use your services, but I understand you may lose money here, but you give them the opportunity to either continue to use you or change their counselor if that is possible.
Okay. The other way is you have to get into what I call damage control mode, because a lot of harm has been done that may be irreparable. So first, you have to identify, you have to own up to your mistake. That's a responsibility. And if possible, try to find where this message is confidential, where it went. And if possible, try to find the person and let them know, if possible, to not to divulge this information to anyone, because they should take themselves into this person's position and try not to make any discussion with anyone at any given time. So it's a responsibility that we must own up to and try to get into damage control mode and assure the person that this will not happen. Like my other friends, brothers and sisters said, you will be able to either give them the opportunity to allow them to see somebody else, or give an assurance that you will continue to work with them, but also in doing that, moving forward, this will not happen. That's my assessment on this.
In addition to what my fellows have said, fairness here is not acknowledged. Harm has been established, and irresponsibility or disrespect has also been established. So these are the three things that one will have to work on. How do you treat the harm that has been established? You've not been fair to your counselee. In spite of the fact that it's a mistake, you've not been fair. There has been an iota of irresponsibility. So there will not be any more courage or trust in you as a counselor. So it's left with you now to let them develop trust in you, faith. So if from them they believe that yes, they can trust you with the other information or to continue, it's left with them. So you have to let them know that this has been a mistake. You apologize for not being able to treat the information confidentially and leaving it unprotected. So when they have decided that they want you to continue, then you have to work on these areas and keep on with the counseling.
But we must also bear in mind that this is unintended harm. It's unintended. It wasn't intentional. So this must also be considered and allow the counselees to know that this was not intended and it happened. We all make mistakes. We're human. We make mistakes. And like we said earlier, before you click send, like email, is gone. So you have to always be careful in whatever, before you click the send button. So this is unintended harm, and the damage has been done. I don't see it as irresponsibility, but carelessness, if I may put it that way. So giving the assurance that it won't happen again, and it wasn't intended to what happened. It was not intentional. So that's my take on this. Thank you.
I have a
I
question.
think, let me say something
I have a
to
question.
counter what my brother is saying.
Okay. Maybe we can, because of our numbers, we can raise our hands, and so that we
whether
can
it's
be a bit.
intended or it's not intended, that is not going to suffice. When you're in the military training, there's nothing called accident. When you are accidentally discharge your weapon and it shot or kill somebody or injure somebody, there's no excuse that say it's not intended for it. So everything have to do with you as a professional, and professionalism has not been exhibited in this situation. So yes, we can all understand that it wasn't meant to be, but you push the button. Were you pushing it somebody else and ended up on the church platform? Because one thing that we all fail to understand is, or sometimes we fail to understand, is when people are sharing some information with you, whether you want to push it to other people for fun or for other people to also get a scoop of it, is we had to be cautious here. You push the button. Who are you sending it to? That ended up in the other platform. Was it meant to go to a different person and ended up in the church platform? So if it had not ended on the church platform, what would it be? So that is some of the things that we have to look at here. And unintended harm, yes, we all agree, but I think this trust will be broken in these instances, and give them the opportunity to work with somebody else, unless they truly want to work with you. But it will be difficult for me. I put myself in that situation. I will not trust you again to share anything with you. And if you cannot share your stories or your issues with your counselor, then there's not going to be a counselor-counselee relationship.
Okay. I see. Auntie Chris, you wanted to ask a question.
Yes. My question is this. Just as you've mentioned earlier, all these cases are things that have happened. So I just want to make it even more real. Sometimes when I get some messages, of late we get so many WhatsApp messages, and sometimes you might tend to forget something. So now we know we can send messages to ourselves. So I want to send this message to myself on my WhatsApp page, which I get them most of the time to see the things that I have to do. And then unintentionally, the church's maybe message was coming up, and I was sending it to my message, and then quick, it's coincided with that of the church. And so it is on the church's platform. So this thing happens. Oh, what have I done? Then immediately I take it off. Somebody has read already. Or I go to check, I see 1, 2, 3 people have read already. Who is to break this news? My question is, who is to break this news to the counselee? Do I have to wait for them to hear? Do I take the responsibility or own up and call them and tell them this is what has happened? That's my question.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So the issue about the sending, sometimes your phone, you just finish using it, you haven't locked it, you leave it in your bag. Something presses another thing and the message is sent out. Yeah. So it's not even that you were sending it accidentally, it happens. But as he's saying, a harm has been done. What do? Well, it's an ethical dilemma. This happened, it happened. The moment you notice that this has happened, you, as part of the principle of integrity is being truthful, being honest, is to reach out to the counselee. You don't want them to hear it from a third party. You have to go into repair mode. So you take the initiative. How would you feel if they called you and said, hey, so the thing I sent you, somebody has also sent it back to me. It means you've waited too long. So the principle of integrity requires us that when there's an unintended harm, we take reparative actions. Okay. Now, another component of this message, of this case, is that I don't know whether your counseling group, you are allowed to use WhatsApp for counseling. It borders on technology and counseling, and it's a big issue that is coming up in the field. You cannot guarantee that the message you've sent on WhatsApp will not be read by a third party. So we have to be very cautious when we are using counseling, using these platforms as intermediary in our counseling work. So yes, the moment you realize that harm has been done, you have to take reparative action. You take the initiative. It could mean that the person will lose trust. It could mean that the person will not decide not to work with you again. In some instances, it could lead to you being sued because it depends on the content of the message that has gone out. So it's a very serious issue we are looking at. Mr. Odate, your hand is up, please.
Yes, I wanted to answer Madam Christie question, but already you have answered the question already.
Oh,
so the only thing that you have to make sure that you own up and then apologize to them, and then make sure that you are the first person to release the message to them, rather than the third party will bring another issue at all, because any message that is going can be distorted. People can add so many things to it, and it will be a different ball game together. So you have to disclose it to them quickly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So on that note, after this lecture, if you have any messages on your phone, if you've finished listening to them and you want to delete them, so that you guard against accidental, sharing. Thank you. So that was the principle of integrity, that we try to be honest and truthful in our work. Another part of integrity is that we do not make promises we cannot keep. So someone comes to see you, in your effort to instill hope, to give them hope, you say, oh, don't worry, everything will be okay. Don't overpromise. That's the point. Don't overpromise on your work with your clients. Other than that, when your promises fail, they will not build trust with you. Okay, let's pick this. Case 5 is also going to share another principle with us. So what principle is at stake here? And how would you respond to Kukwa?
I would say one is responsibility.
Okay.
Responsibility in the sense that she thinks the marriage is too much trouble. So she just wants to stay out of it. So I see that one as a responsibility.
But as a counselor, how do you feel about her response? How do you feel about Kukwa's response? Yes, please, Rashid.
Is respect for people's rights and dignity.
Okay. Very good. Very good. So one of our key principles is that we want to respect people's rights. Kukwa is making a choice. It may not be well thought out. You may want to help her think through, but you don't want to make the decision for them. Okay, so maybe you are very passionate about young people getting married, and here is a young woman saying that marriage is a drug. They don't want anything to do with it. How do you grapple with that? How do you come to terms with the fact that it is their decision? I remember Kukwa is referred to you by Reverend Moses. So perhaps the intention is that please help her so that her mind will come home, as we say. Like her mind is she's not thinking properly. So help her. But in your effort to help her, you do not violate her right or her right to self-determination. If on meeting with her several times, she decides to change her mind, that's fine. But you don't want to impose your ideas, your values about marriage on Kukwa. Okay. Let me see. I've not been reading.
So, Prof, I have a quick
question.
question here, right? As much as you don't want to impose your decision on them, in a situation like this, can't you go further to talk to them about the benefits of marriage. Because it could be that she's not aware of the benefits of it. That's why she kind of shying away from that. But again, the decision is hers. But can you proceed to talk about the benefits of it? And hopefully she can get something out of it.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That is your job as a counselor. Yours is to provide information, and then the counselee will make an informed choice. But if you try to impose your ideas that marriage is good, you have to marry, it's good, and they go into marriage and they encounter problems, would you be there to shoulder those problems? No. So as a counselor, your work is perfect. Obviously, you explore with Kukwa. Perhaps all the marriages that she has seen have not gone well. She thinks it's a bore. So can you help her reflect on other positive sides of marriage? So having had the positive or the benefits and then her experience of it not being too good, now she can make an informed choice, an informed decision. And that is the role of the counselor, helping, providing as much information as possible so that your counselee can make informed decisions. Absolutely so. Mr. JB.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm concerned about the last part of her issues. Like she said, I don't want to stay with one person forever. I just want to ask, first of all, is Kukwa, what is her background? Is she a Christian? Does she want to stay faithful? Maybe she doesn't want to stay with one man. That's why she doesn't want to go into marriage. And I'm concerned here. Is she a Christian? If she's a Christian, why is she raising this point that she doesn't want to stay with one person forever?
Thank you very much. Your question was so powerful. My internet went off. Do you want Kukwa to be a Christian? We can make her
I'm asking if she. No, I'm asking her background. Is she a Christian? Because
at this
the
point, I
reason.
didn't put the background.
Yeah, so we just want to know. Then we know how we can also, as a counselor, help her. If she's a Christian, then you.
For the avoidance of doubt, because all of us here are Christians, I'm assuming I was told this is a Christian. So I'm assuming that all the people I'm presenting to you, they are coming to see you in your capacity as a church counselor. So let's say Kukwa. Yes, I will
if you look at the question
by the pastor.
Preferred by a pastor.
Yes, for the pastor who sent her to you. So
yeah,
that's true. But there are times too you can have somebody who is not a Christian and can come to you for counseling. They see a church, we can go to the church for a pastor to counsel me. There are instances like that.
Okay,
this is my hand is happened.
I see this case similar to.
Let's.
I see this case similar to someone being a gay that you are counseling. Yeah, comparatively. So just rightly as Professor said, we need to give the person the right information for her to make an informed decision. So it's left with me as a counselor to sit and look at spiritual things, physical things, and then social life, and then sit her down to educate her. Then she has to decide on her own whether that will touch her to have a change of mind or not. So it will come from the different backgrounds where I will draw examples from, and then informations that will let her know where she's heading to in her life. So over here, spirituality will come in, but not based only on spirituality. Over here, social life will come in, that is society. And over here, I have to also let her know the future of her life, that is environmental and the rest. So when I'm done, I just have to give her a space of time to sit on it and come again to let me know what really he has decided.
Okay, thank you very much. So your work as a counselor, sometimes you meet people who make choices that are contrary to your beliefs, but remember that you are just there to facilitate their process. You're not going to live their lives for them. So sometimes you see clearly a client is making a decision you wouldn't make. But that's the point you have to remind yourself, hey, this is me. So you put a distance between you and the person, let them make their choices. Other than that, you may be imposing your values on them. Okay, I see several hands. Let me pick Mr. Lomote, then I will come up.
All right, thank you very much. I think in this case, we are all assuming this noble institution is for everyone. May I say it is not for everyone. So as a counselor, respect her decision. I think even Paul somewhere said he wishes everybody was like him. It may be that she wants to dedicate her life solely to mission work. Let us respect that and pray with her. And if that is her decision, let her go with it. Because sometimes people go into it and it doesn't really work out. So let's, as a counselor, respect whatever decision she has taken. And I think even if she wants to, dedicate her entire life to, Christian mission work, support her and let her go with it. So in this case, respecting her decision is prime. If later on she decides to change her mind, well, it's all well and good. But otherwise, respect her decision and guide her to choose. As long as she is on the straight and narrow path, it should be well with her. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We struggle for some of us, we struggle with the idea that someone will choose not to marry. And so that is our bias. And we have to, as counselors, we have to quickly be aware of our own biases. And as the comment has come, let's give our counselees a lot of information that will help them in making their decision. And there will be whatever the consequence they will bear. When we make decisions for them, we are in a way making them dependent. When things go wrong, they'll come back to you with them. So we have to be careful about that. Mr. Boache, your hand was up.
Yes, thank you very much. What, from the context of this case, the fact that I don't want to have kids and I don't want to stay with one person forever. Well, today in the world we live in, you have young, educated men and women, I don't know about Ghana, but here in America, on campuses who have put on this word of polyamory. Yeah. So maybe, so if I receive such a person, I will ask open-ended questions as what her experiences are. Why is she or he leaning towards that way? Has she or he read about any of the, at first I'll try not to impose my beliefs. We have to not allow ourselves to take control over what they are thinking, what their belief system, what their belief process is, but to ask open-ended questions to probe a little bit deeper, to get more information. And then we can offer advice, guidance, the pros and cons of our decisions, and the outcome. And then tell them, okay, we are available at any time they want to talk with us, they want to come back. We're here for them. But we understand what they are saying as far as their decision making and respect for them. So that's what I would do. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Dr. Setoji will be very happy that you are using your counseling skills, probing, open-ended questions, and all of that. Thank you. Auntie Christy, your hand is up.
Is it only Kukua who needs counseling, or the parents as well?
What do you think? What do you think?
I think the parents also needs counseling.
Why?
because sometimes, like the Reverend Minister, the parents went to the Reverend Minister. They're worried about Kukua. Is Kukua staying with the parents? Yes. So what goes on in the house? So I think they also need to be counseled. Just as we're telling Kukua, they also need to be told something, so that whatever we're telling Kukua, the parents will be aware, so that they will not put pressure or something on Kukua.
Okay, I see your point. Thank you for raising that. I thought you were thinking that there's something wrong with the parents' marriage. We don't know. And so going back to the earlier comments, you need to do a lot of exploration to fully understand where she's coming from. How did she arrive at this conclusion? What has happened? What has happened in her life? You know, that will give us ample information. But for the purpose of this conversation, the point is that you want to be respectful of clients who will come up. Some of their decisions and choices will not be things we would do, but we want to be respectful, remembering that they have a right to determine how they want to live their life. In view of our time, I'll skip one case. I'll come back to it. But when we have time, the case that we just discussed with Kukwa is that we want to respect our client's rights to self-determination. Privacy and confidentiality, I'll talk about them in detail later on. So to be able to respect people and their rights, you need to know yourself. You need to know your own values. You need to know your biases, and that will help you in relating to your clients. Also, as part of the respect for people's rights and dignity principle, we try to safeguard vulnerable groups in society. So if you are working with persons with disability, you have to give them extra care. If you are working with children or minors, you have to be very careful, give them extra protection because they are vulnerable. The context you live in is full of different people from different backgrounds. So we want to be respectful of culture, we want to be respectful of religion, language, age. All those dimensions are important for us to respect people and rights. Okay, so we've talked about 5 key principles. I want us to name them before we go to the standards. This is the next thing we're going to talk about. So what are the 5? If we are writing exam, do we write exam in this course? Are we going to be writing exams?
I don't know. We have been pardoned. We have been class participation. class participation.
Mike has given us pardon.
The 5 principles: care, fairness, responsibility, integrity,
Care,
respect for
fairness,
people's rights.
responsibility, respect for people's rights.
Yes.
Care.
Which one is the most important? Which one is the most important?
They're all important.
All important.
All of them.
I think care.
All of them.
They are all important.
They are all
Emergency, all of the
interconnected.
above.
All of the above.
They
Okay.
work together.
They are all interconnected. You will
You know,
notice
Prof,
that
I have a question here when we talk about the 5 principles. Let's dig a little bit into fairness. Is it just on paper or is something that is practiced? Because let us face it, you as a counselor or any other profession that anybody does, fairness is something that is everywhere, just like integrity. But sometimes you just cannot be fair. That's just how life is. It's just the way life is. So it's just on paper or it's actual in practice. You know, if I'm a producer of kinky and I have 5 kinky balls left, somebody call me, they say they want to buy. I tell them, come, I got it. Then my pastor, Dr. Awuku-Gyampoh called me and said, hey, Ajiti, I need 5 balls of kinky. Guess what? I'm just gonna call the person and say, oops, I thought I had it, but I never had it. And I give it to Dr. Awuku-Gyampoh. That's how life is about. So are we talking about this in real practice, or we just talking about it as on paper?
Yeah, very good. Very good question. I think Mr. Boache wants to answer. So let's go ahead.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. It must be practical. It has to be practical, not just on paper. And if we lose that practical aspect of it, then we've lost our core value of being a Christian, love. We must not discriminate against anyone, regardless of what the circumstances are, what the situations are. And this comes into fairness. Now, just put yourself in that person's shoe, that you're looking for something and they place someone they know ahead of you. How would you feel? Now, there was one pastor in Kumasi who gave this simple analogy that his wife went to a place, a funeral, or some kind of a celebration. She bought some goods from a lady. Shortly after that, another woman came that this seller knows. She told her that, no, I cannot sell you this product anymore. Give it back. Give it back to me. I'm not going to sell it to you. She has already paid for it. But because she knows this person, the seller knows this person, they took the whatever it was away from her and gave it to this person. That means, I don't know what the person is, a Christian or not a Christian, but we've lost the real core value of a Christian relationship with walking with God and Christ. So it must be practical. That's my take on, hopefully I've been able to explain a little bit. You just put yourself in that position to see how you will feel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Reverend Amakwan. Reverend, sorry for not pronouncing your name well. Please go ahead.
I think you are muted. I think you are muted, sir.
Good. This comes to faithfulness, truthfulness, and avoidance of what we call favoritism. When you do favoritism, you have compromised your integrity. And biblically, if we come to James 2:9, the Bible says it's a son. And then in the physical world, people will disregard you. You may be even the Pope or you may be a bishop. People will see that you are not truthful. So this comes to our spiritual integrity. People do it because he has the power and the audacity and the ability to do. So he does it. But that is the time we get to know the different categories of human personality. All of us, 5 of us, may be district ministers. But one person will stand aloof. Why? Because he's so faithful, he's truthful. He avoids favoritism in life. So this will be like a crown upon your head when you move with your fellows. So as humans, whatever we are studying here, we must be truthful to the God or the divine God we are serving, whether people are around or not. And so in secret or in every place, we should be able to exhibit faithfulness, truthfulness, and avoid favoritism.
Thank you very much.
And I also like to add to what he said.
Okay.
And I remember, Dr. Amankwana, the teaching you gave us that there was one person, that is abuse of power.
Yeah.
One person at Asawasi who made the pastor's life very, very miserable because he had money.
Yeah.
And controlled the church.
Yeah.
When he said, I'm not coming, nothing happens.
Yeah.
So this is abuse of power, as you related in this particular example that you gave during your teaching.
Yeah.
So we must not abuse the power that we have to undermine the work we have been entrusted to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lomote, do you want to add?
Yeah. May I add something to what Mr. Wakin and Reverend said? I think even in the secular world, when resources become scarce, we ration. Like in COVID-19, resources became scarce. They tell you, oh, okay, maybe when it comes to cases of water, you can only buy one, so it will be enough for everyone. So as counselors, you may encounter situations where it becomes challenging. Do I serve my, let's say, my bishop needs me? Do I serve my minister and then ignore the ordinary Joe? No. You have to find a way. There are ways around it. You always have to remember our core mandate. As Christians, we should have love, and then we should have equity at the back of our minds. So there are ways to, make sure you serve everybody equally without being biased. So challenging situations may come up, but you can still find a way to, with love, find a way to satisfy everybody without anybody feeling like, oh, favoritism. There are ways around it, and it's possible. If you have love and then you have equity at the back of your minds, you can satisfy everybody without anybody feeling like they've been left because they are nobody. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all the input, everyone. And thank you, Ajite, for the question. I think we've covered the basis. Fairness, all the principles we talked about, they are things we aspire to. They are the bar. And so we work towards them. There, of course, I mentioned that there are times your superior, the person who perhaps pays you or someone in authority right above you is requesting for something. But we want to make sure that the favor we do for that person does not come at the cost to another individual, especially if you're talking about counseling. Sometimes when people need you, they need you now. So the person who is in authority and is asking, can you negotiate with the person that, okay, maybe the person says, see me, or I'm referring someone to you to see tomorrow. Your schedule is full tomorrow. Can you negotiate to see the person maybe first thing the following day? So we should make an effort. We should make an attempt to take care of everyone equitably. Equitably. The word is equity. As that if you say equality, it means that if I'm buying water for everyone, I'm buying water, I should buy water for everyone, but somebody may already have their water, so they need something else. So equity means that what you need is what you get. And so we try to make sure that nobody is disadvantaged in any way. Very good. So thank you, those who completed the assignment, the 5 principles. I hope we all have it at the tip of our fingers. So how we implement the 5 principles, I'm going to introduce you to 4 ethical standards that will help you to implement the 5 principles we talked about. So first is, Mr. Lomoto, is it an old hand or there's a new hand? Okay, I suppose it's an old hand. So
yeah, no, I'm fine.
We talk about informed consent. We talk about privacy and confidentiality. We talk about boundaries and multiple relationships. And then we talk about professional limits. Again, I'm going to use cases to help us understand this. So informed consent, basically it involves telling your counselee what the counseling process will look like and ensuring that they will be allowed to make decisions pertaining to themselves. So after church, somebody comes to you that, oh, Mr. Boachi, I have an issue I want to discuss with you. In that space, when you meet with them, let them know how long you're going, the conversation is going to last, your role as a counselor, what would you be doing? Just give them an orientation. I think Dr. Setsoji would have talked about that when you were doing the counseling skills. You give them enough information so that they can determine whether you are the right person to see or they should go and see somebody else. So I'll give an example. Someone will come and see me, and the moment I explain that, well, in counseling, I'm here to support you, to help you make decisions, but you will make your own decisions. Some people are like, oh, I thought you will make the decision for me. These are people, they are used to being spoon-fed. So the moment you give them the information, now they know that maybe you are not the right person or you are the right person. So you give them enough information. When you do that, it allows them to make informed choice. So informed consent is providing the information. Your client's final decision becomes informed choice. And that's the same thing that will happen in Kukue's case. But let me give you a scenario to see what you would do in this instance. So informed consent, you've given your client enough information. Some of them may come to you and they may think you are a psychologist or psychiatrist or a psychotherapist. It is your responsibility to tell them, also, as a church counselor, these are the things I can do. If the issues you are presenting go beyond this boundary, you may have to see a professional. I'll come to that later, talk about how to do the referral. But the key thing is that when people meet with you, let them know in what capacity you are going to work with them, how long the discussions is going to last, their role in the counseling process. And when you do that, they can make informed choice. Okay. Now, there's a case here I want you to please have a look at and tell me what you make of it. So what if you have finished reading, if you're a fast reader? What jumps at you? What jumps at you? What jumps at you? Yes,
trust. There's a health issue in this case that Yao has indicated, and also she's asking you to keep a secret as a counselor also. So these are two issues that is coming out in this case. And so with as far as medical issue is concerned, you probably have to refer him to a medical practitioner or somebody who has knowledge of this condition. And also with the case of keeping a secret, you cannot, as a counselor, you cannot do that, because if you do that in future, it might jeopardize the marriage, and then you will be somehow responsible for that happening. And so you have to let him know that you cannot do that by keeping that secret from AC, the wife to be.
Thank you. So stay there. Did you tell them at the beginning of your marriage preparation that you will not be keeping secrets?
Well, yeah, you have to right as a counselor, because you lay the boundaries already that you are not,
Very good. So
yeah.
when you meet with them the first time, we talked about informed consent. Let them know that you will not be keeping secrets. If you tell them after the fact, they may not appreciate it. If you tell them after the fact, they may not appreciate it. So when you first meet with them, and I like the word that you are using, boundary, you set the parameters. That is my internet working. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 So when you first meet with them, especially when you're doing couples work, letting them know from the beginning the do's and don'ts, that I can't keep secrets. If you tell me something, I may have to. If you haven't set this boundary, and all of a sudden you bring it up, it's like you've tricked me. You didn't tell me you'll not be keeping secrets. So that's one thing. There are other details in this case. So let me pick Mr. Mwako. Thanks.
Yeah, for me, what jumps out is the fear factor. And I would love to explore that some more to understand what is driving that fear. Because regardless of this situation, if that fear continues and they take that to the marriage, it's going to brew a lot of problems along the way for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me see. Am I missing any hands here? Let me check from here. Okay. Mr. Lomote, is that an old hand? A new hand?
No, it's a new one.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think in this case, you need to drive the point home to the gentleman that in marriage there are no secrets. So encourage him to discuss the issue, mention the issue himself to his would-be wife, because you cannot go into the marriage with this kind of issue. And besides, it will even be worse if you go into the marriage and then this medication is affecting your libido, affecting your fertility. And then I don't know, things don't work out, then you come out and say, oh, I had this problem long ago. That would be worse. So it's better right from the word go, you mention it to the lady, discuss with her, assure her that there is still hope for, having kids or whatever. Then they can go on with their marriage. Keeping secrets, even in the genesis of, marriage, is not the best. So as a counselor, I encourage him to, put that fear aside and have a frank discussion with the lady before we go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Several hands have dropped. Is it that you are covered or you?
Prof, I have my hand up. I don't see it. I don't see it on my end, but I don't know if you see it.
I think the host
please go ahead and talk. I can.
Okay. So I will also explore the fear factor, but I would like to level the playing field so that the man can be more open to talk about it, i.e., exploring with AC or with both of them to identify if AC wants some children. Because not every marriage or every couple want to have kids on their own or biological kids. So I would like to explore that to see if AC intends to have a biological children. If not, then that may kind of ease the pressure a little bit, because when we're talking about possibly affecting fertility, if she don't care about having kids, then that problem is not there. We assume that when everybody married, they want to have kids, but it's not always true. They can also have kids by adopting. And so that can also be an area that, in exploration, that can be part of the conversation. And if AC is good with all of that, then it's in safe ground to now, talk about it himself without the fear of AC is going to walk away from him.
Please, if I can come
Yes.
in, I just want to make a point on what he just said about
Yes, please.
AC not, exploring whether AC wants children or not. On the other side, is even if AC does not want children, will the marriage, their intimacy, sexual intimacy, would that also survive? So that is something that you also have to look into. And that's why you have to, address that fear of taking medication with a professional doctor to be able to inform him of whatever, what can be done about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend. You want to add something?
I think you are muted, Reverend.
You have to unmute.
Yeah, he's muted.
Marriage is, the consummation of marriage is through sexual intercourse. So if this is hidden, that would be a problem. In one of my second station before coming to US, similar thing happened. The problem came, the lady hid it from the man, and the man said that he went to pray at the mountains and he acknowledged it. He asked the lady denied. So he cannot live without having children. So he wants divorce. And the lady too was not ready. And it was a matter, I call in a chairperson to come in that was ready to offer over 25,000 Ghana cedis to help them. Yes, so the man refused the offer. So everything should be in the openness. AC should know what really she's going to inherit or he's going to encounter. And then she must come out with an informed decision. The guy told me, Papa, if this lady had made me to know initially, I have no choice of causing for divorce. But once it's hidden from me, Papa, be fair with me. Frankly speaking, I didn't allow divorce before I left. And so as soon as I left, the guy divorced the lady upon the coming of a new minister. So there should be openness. Every one of us should know the problem each one of us do have. If it's on health, we should know. If it's on this, you should know. So that we can all know how we are going to live together, and we know our problems and our shortcomings and how we can handle one another.
Okay, thank you very much.
Papa,
thank you. So as counselors, now I want to push you. As counselors, are you going to disclose this information to AC? What is at stake here?
Well, what I will say is that
it's not my responsibility to disclose information, but I will encourage the man to disclose the information himself. If he wants to do it in my presence, fine. If he wants to go and do it publicly, but it should not come from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that is also that's what I mentioned, that in the process of disclosing, we already know that this guy have a fear, right? So of losing AC. So in the process of him disclosing, we want to make the playing field level, that there will be some comfortability. That's what I mentioned earlier. Because when the playing field is not level, then he will continue to believe that AC will leave him. In this case, we don't know that for a fact, but we don't know what AC wants in terms of having kids. And somebody mentioned about, what about sexual intercourse? We know that through help of God and science and everything that's in between, most medications that will cause low libido, there are other medications to counter that. For example, you have Cialis, you have, what is the popular one? Viagra. And even our local roots herbs, you may not put on alcohol as a Christian. You probably put it, you can cook it and drink it. So there are other remedies out there that can also help and counter when it comes to sexual intercourse. So that one, I think that can be dealt with. It's more so of the having children. And unfortunately, we as Africans, we are not really open to adoption. when we say children, we're only talking about, or mostly we're talking about biological children and not adoption. But that is something that can also bring much education on. You can adopt somebody. The child don't always have to be your biological child. So when you make all this playing field level, then he himself will disclose that information, as Mama Christie said earlier.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lomote, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think I agree with my.
Yeah, just a minute.
I agree with my colleagues. In this case, let's encourage the gentleman if he wants to make the disclosure in front of you, the counselor, fine, but he needs to disclose it and let him know that even in case AC decides to bow out of the relationship, you can go on and get another person. I mean, it's at the end of the day, if the problem persists and you go into marriage, she will eventually leave you. As somebody, Reverend gave the example of the gentleman saying she didn't disclose it to me, so now I'm going for divorce. Eventually, if she finds out later in the marriage, she will go. So why don't you disclose it now? Let her make her decision if she wants to go ahead or not. If she says no, I can't go with it, there is still hope. There is still hope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also here, yes, thank you. What first, this requires medical attention. If the man needs medical, I will first ask him, because we must always bear in mind, we must give them the autonomy to be themselves. So I will ask him, his concern is valid, but today we are in a science field that medical field that we have IVFs, in vitro fertilization. You have other medications that can counteract what his fears are. Okay, so first he should disclose. He should be open. He should be transparent. And I remember in one of our sessions, this whole thing came up about how to relate a person with HIV or something in that form. He should be transparent with his fiancée. And first I would tell him there are also medical options for his concern. Refer him to a counselor, a medical counselor, or his physician to discuss this with him. Once he has all that information, then he should divulge that information to his fiancée and let her know that, okay, this is what I have. I've talked to my physician or specialist, and these are the options that I have. So what do you think? How do you accept this as part of our lifestyle or the living condition that we'll be under? Are you going to be supportive? Because marriage is a partnership, okay? So once we give him that information, then the two of them, he can tell his fiancée, and then he can decide from there that that works for both of them. Thank you.
Okay, Papa Makra, I want to give an experience again. One time, a man sent the wife to me. He had a health problem, a health issue. The woman was sent to Kuala Lumpur for treatment, and the rest, it could not be. It was spiritual. But when the Lord revealed and the woman was healed, they were married for 20 years. It was a secret between the woman and only one woman. Now, the man wanted to know how the wife was healed. And this secret, I could not tell the man. I visited there in Accra, having 3 children. So I prayed for the Holy Spirit to use the woman to disclose the problem because she was not so ready. But to the glory of God, the woman disclosed it to the husband. The man was shocked. She said, if I had known, I wouldn't have married you. But for the sake that God revealed to Pastor, and then you have informed me, they are still married together now. They are still married, but it wasn't so easy. So some of these things, if I had even disclosed it, would have been a different matter. The lady herself disclosed it at the time that she could not stand on her feet. But after 2-3 years, they both avoided me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Mr. JB, do you want to add one thing? And then I will speak to this slide very soon.
All right. Thank you so much. I just want to ask Papa, Reverend Amankuna, his first contribution on the same issue that we've just discussed. Papa mentioned that during counseling, he didn't allow divorce until another minister came in and do it. But I'm wondering why Papa didn't do it.
Yeah, but the Bible says that where 2 or 3 are put together, nobody should put asunder. So I rather advise that they could continue separation. So they were separated, but they were coming to church. But to give divorce, the boy was demanding. I never gave it.
All right.
But that's their decision to make, right?
Yeah. So they were to decide. The boy was willing, the lady was not willing. So it was halfway. So I don't have to come in and allow no.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've got your answer. Yeah. So the issue we just discussed, which you would encounter so many of them. First of all, to protect yourself against some of these issues of secrets is the boundary you set, the informed consent process. What you tell them that, hey, I'm working with you as a couple. So if you call to tell me something, sometimes the one party wants to discuss with you first so that they know how to bring it into the couple. So if you allow that, tell them at the beginning, this is how it's going to be. I don't keep secrets. You set the boundaries very well to avoid that. So I've put a case here. Okay, first let me comment on this. I say that confidentiality is the legal duty of counselors. Confidentiality is one of the key areas counselors get sued. That is one of the key areas. Somebody tells you something and you release it, they can sue you. So it's a key area. We have to be careful. It's a legal issue when it comes to privacy and confidentiality. So if you follow Ghana news recently, Kwame Eugene was involved in a car accident, and the doctor, who apparently is also a psychologist, decided to go and post it on social media. Oh, let's pray for Kwame Eugene. His health is getting bad. That is breach of confidentiality, right? And so he has been suspended. I think he will be brought before the disciplinary committee for disclosing client health information. Okay, let's pick this. I have a few things to say. Okay, we'll go. Let's pick this quickly. I'll and see how we're doing on time. Okay. In view of our time, I'll explain what is going on here. So you see, Mr. Mensah sees you again, talking to you privately, but we don't know whether they were in couples therapy, or couples counseling, but he speaks to you as a counselor privately. He's agitated. That's a sign you have to look out for. He's having financial problems. He's recently separated. This is a recipe for disaster. Someone who is recently separated, he has financial woes. They are easily triggered. Listen to the last part. He says that in his anger, he mentioned that he would deal with his wife. What do you think he's saying? That's a red flag.
Yes, it is.
It
must involve
serious.
It is a red flag. Yeah. So if you have a case like this, it's a basis for breaking confidentiality. There's a possibility that he might cause harm to the wife.
Right.
And the research shows that normally after separation, the chances of homicidal intentions are high. Okay, and now we have financial woes in the midst. So that is a reason to raise a red flag. So there are 4 main possibilities for breaking confidentiality. If you see possible harm either to self, so to self meaning that the person might be suicidal, or they portray to you that they are thinking of harming another person. There's different state regulations as to how you go about reporting this. Unfortunately, I don't know what pertains in your locality. So I'll urge you to take a read of it, what pertains to the states you are in. Also, when you're working with counselees and you have evidence of abuse of a minor, you are supposed, I guess you know that more than I do, in your geographical location, you're supposed to report if there's abuse of the elderly or a disabled person or a person with disability. Then sometimes our works are subpoenaed, meaning that you get a court order that you work with someone so and so, the person has a case and we need information about the session you did with the person. In such a case, you have to talk to the counselee, letting them know that their counseling record is being subpoenaed. You also have to engage a lawyer to help you, to know what kinds of information you can share. And your client has to be in the know that this is happening. If you're working with minors, sometimes their parent or legal guardian may want to see or receive report on what they are doing. So minors, we're looking at people below the age of 18. So these are the basis for breaking confidentiality. So when we meet with our counselees, we don't tell them that everything you say will stay here. That's not it. We have to mention to them that everything stays here except when these conditions are met. If you are a danger to yourself, danger to others, there's a minor abuse going on, elderly abuse or disabled person abuse, a court subpoenas at work, or there's a legal guardian requesting for information. Okay. Now, last but 2 also, let's pick Antiama and see, this is a fairly easy case. Let's see what is the key issue that I'm trying to use this case for. So please take a read of it. Yes, Mr. Mwakon.
Yeah, I see conflict of interest in this case.
Okay, exactly. This is a conflict of interest. We call it multiple relationships or boundary violations. So Antiama cannot provide the premarital counseling to her daughter and the fiancé. The reason is that your judgment will be compromised. Your daughter may not open up as much. The fiancé may not open up as much, and you impede the work. So as much as possible, we avoid forming multiple relationships or violating our boundaries of relationship so that our client can feel safe and talk. The point of the counseling space is that it has to be comfortable, safe, so that your client can really engage with you. Let me see this one. I'm trying to keep within the time. Okay, so let's look at this. I will show this. This is the final case, I think, so that can allow some time for questions as well. So case 10, what is the key issue here? What do you think is going on here? Yes, Mr. Boache.
Yes, first we have to empathize with your counselee. Sometimes when people are grief-stricken, far beyond our ability to console them, we have to seek therapy for them. So I will make that recommendation to this counselee that her situation requires seeing a therapist or seeing a professional counselor to help her deal with the situation, so that sometimes we all are humans, things that happen that are embedded in our minds and they stay there, but we can always seek help to overcome that challenge. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For me, in this situation, I will refer this person to her religious leader in this case, because when we're talking about abortion, then we're talking about loss of life. And so the religious leader will be in a better position to work with her through that process, the forgiveness and other things that can help her to heal. Obviously, she cannot change the past, and she cannot continue to live like this either. And so that is where my referral will come in.
Okay, thank you for pointing that. Yes, Millie.
I think in this case we have to understand that we are premarital counselors and we are not clinical. So in this case, I'll refer this person to a clinical psychologist and even possibly a psychiatrist. There's something going on probably deeper than you can see on the surface. So it will be better to refer this person for medical help.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. You are all spot on. The case is being used to illustrate the issue about professional limits. If you draw a pyramid, at the base, we have several people in our homes, our grandparents, our aunts who serve as what we call natural counselors. When something happens, they help us. Then when it doesn't, they are not able to resolve it. It comes to pastoral counselors or religious counselors, right? But it gets to another level. You realize that the issue is beyond this group. So you push it up to, say, a psychologist, and then further, you can push it up to a psychiatrist. So it's almost like a triage. If one doesn't work, go to step 2. If step 2 doesn't work, go to 3. So we all need to know the limits of our capabilities or our expertise, right? So in this regard, we use referral. Some people are reluctant to refer because they think it's a sign of weakness, but really, no. Even when you look at the professional, say psychiatrists, within the psychiatric run, they still refer. Referral goes to the heart of care. If we care about our clients so much or our counselors so much, we want to get them the best care. And sometimes the best care is referral. So we don't want to keep a client for so long and their issue, they are not improving. But we say that, oh, I've worked with a person for a while, and so you don't want to release them to go. For you, I don't think your work, you are doing this to earn money. I don't know whether you'll be paid when counselors see you. But for professionals, sometimes the reason why people don't refer is that if I refer you, I'm losing money. So I'll keep you as long as I can. But it's unethical. It means that we are violating the care principle. So it's important that as practitioners, we have a list of possible referrals. If my client comes in and it's a psychiatric issue, who do I refer to? If it's a psychologist issue, who do I refer to? Sometimes social work, you need someone to go to the house or home to do to work with the entire system. So we need a list of possibilities. Where do I refer the person to? And some clients are sometimes reluctant. You are referring them because they've been working with you for a while. They are not willing to go. But part of our work is to give them a basis for referral. Some clients may see referral as an abandonment, like you are abandoning me. No. So referral has to be done well. It's not just, wishing the person away. Give concrete reasons why you're making the referral, who you're making the referral to, and they'll have the confidence that you are still following them, you are interested in their care. So as counselors, we need to be humble enough to know when a case is beyond our expertise and move on to another professional who can provide the needed care that the clients will benefit the most from. Okay, we have a minute to the hour. I want to pause here. The last 4 slides also I rushed through. I'll pause here and then invite questions or comments.
One question for me as we bring this training into conclusion today. If counselors are not the one making decisions for the counselees, but they're guiding the conversation for them to make decisions themselves, why do we have the need for counselors then? Because why don't they stay at their homes and just make their own decision then? But then they come to people like yourself or other counselors for help if those ones are not going to make the decisions for them.
Okay, that's a very good question. Any takers before I come in? Any takers? Okay.
I can try.
My name is Emmanuel. So I come in.
Yes.
Okay. All those people have an ideas or the situation that they are going through, but you have to guide them. As you guide them and then you elaborate on the pros and cons of the situation, they themselves will come out and then get informed decision. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And I also come in. My name is Emmanuel.
Can we take it one at a time, please?
Okay, let me raise my hand.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll come in. That is what we are doing right now, getting information, knowing, being informed about how we should counsel people. Those people who are coming to us may not have all the information they need to make that informed decision. And that's why it's important that they have pre-marital counseling for professionals who have the knowledge and understanding of how things work. And so it's important that we cannot neglect pre-marital counseling to help them so that their marriages will last or be forever. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If I can come in now.
Okay, let me
Mr.
take
Donko.
Mr. Donko.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Donko.
My answer would be like a question I put on last week, that the two people love themselves so much, that's why they want to engage in that marriage, right? Because other than that, they won't come together. So to answer your question, it's a little bit of a challenge. I work as an employment counselor, and I'm using as example today what I face. One of the person who need my help comes to me. You can help me, but why the job is too much for you and you are here say that you helping me. And I spend like an hour for this particular person for the whole day, and I have about 100 people to deal with. So to finish my answer, like they know what they want from you, because again, they are coming to you that, hey, or the church have arranged it that cancel these people. So I think the decision sometimes lies with the two of them. Again, they will listen to you, all the advices, but when they get to stuff will be say form. when it comes to the reality. And then you see all that we've talked about, whether they know it or not. But again, I think that it's good to seek advice. It's good to hear from people. Knowledge is something that one can, papa. So it's always a kind of a dynamic process going on. Like being a Christian, you need to go through some steps and then steps and then steps. And at a point you say that, oh, now I'm a patriot. Like, you know that any challenge that comes. So that's the best way I could also answer your question.
Yes,
So,
thank you.
Professor, let me throw one wrench at my question as you get other people to respond, and even you responding. Sometimes, right? If this is a counselor, you know them professionally as a counselor, but if you know their issues, their personal issues, sometimes your issue, you just drink water and then go to sleep because their issues may even be bigger than what you have. And if you have known their issue, you will know that you don't have problem. So let's how do you factor that in?
Okay. So I'll tie the two questions. How do you factor in your own needs? And also, why should people come for counseling if they are there, you are not to make decisions for them? It goes back to the heart of this work that we are in counseling because we want to serve as we will say the sounding board. Often when people have issues, they get their emotions and everything get jumbled up, so they don't have clarity. And you take an objective stance, you serve as an onlooker and or a third party to give them possible solutions or possible ways they could be framing whatever issue they are going through. And so the key issue here is not to make the decisions for them. The key issue is to give them alternatives, give them information, and empathize with them as much as you can. If we are not careful and we end up spoon feeding our clients, they become dependent on us. And when things do not go well, first of all, that is not healthy. Your clients are dependent on you, and this is typical in our part of the world. People, every decision they want to call the pastor. It means that we are not growing as human beings as we should, because we have the capacity. Some people come, they need help with some relationship skills or they need coping skills. And when you provide them with these, they are able to make decisions for themselves. And that is more empowering rather than making decisions for them. If you make the decisions for them, are you going to be able to make every single decision for them for the rest of their lives? It's not empowering. It's rather, interfering with their life. So you want to empower. That's the point of counseling, to empower people. And they do that with the information you give them, the emotional support you're going to give them. And they make decisions and they feel proud about that. So we may struggle with the idea that we are not making decisions for them, but it is even safer. And for you, the counselor, it protects you. You cannot be leading 100 lives. You cannot be leading everybody's life for them. So these are some considerations why we want clients, we want to empower them, let them make their own decisions that they can be proud of. They shouldn't become dependent on us. Okay. The other question about how do we take care of ourselves, again, it goes back to our different abilities. Some people, a small problem and they feel overwhelmed. Another, they have developed coping skills that they can manage. And so each client, you're looking at them, what do they need? One person needs emotional support so that they can make their decisions. Another person needs, skill building, and you do that. Problem solving skills, and you provide that for them. So these are the various ways we help people, but we don't necessarily want to make decisions for them. Let me see. I hope I've answered the questions. Are there any other questions? And Dr. Tiwodi, please, you may jump in if I've gone over time.
Okay. This has been, I don't know, been questions, answers, discussion. Very great. And it's been a great presentation. Please, are we all okay? We've passed our time. And as you know, Ghana and America, the time difference. We also need to retire to our beds, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
You've been a great group. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Annabella, would you wrap up or you're done with any summaries or you're done?
No, so just to recap, I've enjoyed the discussions so far. I hope you remember the 5 principles we are working with and the different standards we have to follow to make sure that we provide care and support to the people who come to us. We are eager to help, but this helping is a delicate exercise we are doing. So we want to do the most good. At all costs, we want to be benefiting the people who come to us and minimizing any unforeseen harms. We want to minimize them as much as possible so that we can achieve the greater good. It's been wonderful, your comments, your questions. I love them. I love them. It's been wonderful. Thank you very much. And thank you, Dr. Tiwodi, for coordinating. Thank you, Reverend. Also coordinating from your side. And thank you, everyone, for your inputs. It's been a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Prof.
thank you.
That was wonderful.
Thank you very much, Professor Osetutu, for that excellent presentation. I think we've had 4, presentations, very good presentations from all our presenters. And I know you are grateful. You're excited about this because of your involvement every week. And we are also grateful to you. So this is our last day, and we're going to miss you. I am going to miss all of you. Being with you during
we miss you too.
the 4 weeks, and it's been great having you. We're a great group, and we hope to meet again soon.
Maybe you come from California, you come back to California, and then you come visit.
Yes. So, Reverend Awuku, on behalf of the Department of Psychology, on behalf of our HOD, Professor Dutenum, we'd like to express our sincere appreciation to you for, coming in for us. It could have gone anywhere. But and then we also delivering top-notch lectures to you. So we draw the curtains here today, and we are working on your certificates. We're going to send them by mail, so you're going to get hard copy certificates. And so I guess by next week they should come to you. We started working on it, so by next week you should get those certificates. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow. Last, what are we telling the faculty of psychology?
We are very grateful.
God bless you.
Very grateful.
God bless you.
Grateful.
You have been amazing.
Bless you.
Imparting your knowledge to us.
Thanks so much.
We are very grateful.
2 more weeks.
Thank you.
2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
Ata numo ajobo ke o group fe amen.
Oliver Chris asked for more.
That's
Yeah.
for more.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. 2 more
Okay.
weeks.
Yes, so friends in the Lord, on behalf of the North America Australia Presbytery, and on behalf of the chairperson of Presbytery, Reverend James Joseph Kumijudu, I'd want to say a big thank you to the Department of Psychology, preeminently Professor Joseph Osafo, Dr. Mabel Oti Wedi, for doing the coordination so peacefully, to our facilitator, Dr. Gladys Setoji, and to our professor, Professor Annabelle Osei. We cannot thank you enough. The wisdom that we have received. I wish I were in Ghana. I would have just come to say, you know what, just admit me to read another PhD in counseling, because I told Professor Osafo the other day that I was in Ghana, I would have just enrolled and be your student to have more knowledge on that. We really appreciate that. We have taken so much inspiration from that. And we say God bless you. And I must say that ever since we began this program, we are, I think, 54 students. And most of the students have also gained several academic laurels that I feel is worth celebrating. One of the current one is one minister who has moved from Reverend to Reverend Doctor in the person of Reverend Dr. Ruben Owusu Asenso. He just got his Doctor of Ministry from the Liberty University. Papa,
Congratulations.
we congratulate you on this success that you have chugged. We know before you get that title, you go through several process, and we congratulate you. And once again, we want to also congratulate our students who have also gained admission into the Presbyterian ministerial training, two of which are here. Papa Ajete is now a ministerial student. I've received his letter. And again, Nana Ajimai has also gained admission into the seminary. We want to say God bless you. We can see that the Department of Psychology has brought so much blessing to us, because within the 4 weeks, we see so much advancement in the lives of the students here. And this would mean that we need to ask for more, so we receive more such blessings. We are once again grateful to all of you. And as the students said, we surely will come back to you again for those who want to specialize in aging and again, marital. This is pre-marital. Those who would also want to specialize in marital counseling. And we also spread this across the board to other denominations. Should we send the letters to the other denominations like Methodist, Church Ghana, USA? If they are also ready, we'll keep coordinating. I love to coordinate some of these things to impact knowledge into the generation that you have come to meet. Once again, God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you too. Thank you. And we wish all of you well in your ministry. And we hope that everything that we have gotten in these classes would apply them well, and then we'll have successful marriages in our churches.
Yes.
God bless you all.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right. So class, wait for 1 minute. Class, wait for 1 minute. Thank you. All right. So yes, Mama, we want to say thank you. Anytime we come to Ghana, we come for fufu from your end. We come and fufu.
Okay.
And all right. So
All right.
God bless you.
Thank
All right.
you. All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Good night. Good night. God bless you. Bye-bye.
All right. So the student, now that we have finished with the University of Ghana, formally the church would commission us as counselors. Do you get the story now? It's a Yaku school. Akwa sa wako seminary ewie. Esa sorry no. A commission so you're a catechist. And now you're sofu. And son of so now we will look for a date, and then the presbytery will commission us as counselors of the church. Does it make sense, please? That's right. That's right.
Yes,
So
Papa.
work on that, which means that you're going to get double certificate. The church, the North American Church is also going to give you a certificate. That is where you say that, yes, I attended a training with the University of Ghana. But then the church, President Church of Ghana, North American Church, has made me a counselor. So whether you are from New York, you move to Ohio, you are from Ohio, you move to California, you are still a counselor. Thank you very much. My name is Papa Kabna. God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you too.
But thank you for the double certificate. Thank you.
God bless.
11 o'clock, 11 o'clock. We are meeting on the line again.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Man, koda.
I know. Man, koda.